Hello my friends! As you have seen in the previous episode, the quest of the Extasium has been particularly long and difficult as far as sound is concerned. The analysis of the book of Revelation was also very laborious, over many years, to specify the colors and to set up the place of light of the electronic painting, and especially the image of the central picture, which is so effective to easily access high levels of consciousness and get closer to the divine. The relationship with this text concerns essentially the beginning of the book corresponding to the picture in natural light and the end in fluorescent light showing the heavenly Jerusalem. I found in the section concerning events and prediction only a few relationships with some light animations, which allowed me to clarify them by confirming the accuracy of my discovery. Now, I will describe to you the one that seems to be the most obvious, with the purely geometrical place of light, discovered a long time before, transformed in the vision of John into phantasmagorical characters. 12.1 A grandiose sign appeared in the sky. A woman. The sun envelopes her. She's pregnant. Then a second sign appeared in the sky. A huge fire red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns. Its tail sweeps the third of the star in the sky. The dragon is about to devour its child as soon as it comes. The dragon is about to devour her child as soon as it's born. Here's how I identified and adjusted them. The effect of the woman is the sexual symbol of the red mandala that I first developed as a very impressive eye and that tipped into the first gate of light. The light of the sun, like the other description of what surrounds it, is generated by the other light composition that surrounds it. She's pregnant means that inside each figure there is another light effect. There are even several, but in this case it may be a rotating movement that evokes the yin and yang, especially the immaterial celestial diamonds that I discover in the center of the brain. The second effect of the dragon is a spiral of light that looks huge compared to the other images. The heads and horns are simply shadows caused by the colors controlling the light emitted by the lens, giving this illusion. This is the aspect you could see when I was still using lamps. But it became even more obvious when I switched to leads and was able to use the computer to continue my research with the cinema painting or kaleidoscopes. Its tail, thus the spiral, turning in the painting, swept well the third of the star, since in fluorescent light a large starry sky is represented on the wall of the Extasium, and that the painting occupies the third of the surface. The dragon is about to devour means that the center of the spiral is located inside the mandala. In the first painting, I had represented the spiral in blue-gray. A friend told me that he had shown the small painting he had bought from me, in which there was only this effect, to many acquaintances, and that all of them had been strongly impressed by this spiral turning to the rhythm of the music. It was very beautiful. But after reading this text, I replaced the gray lights with orange or fire red. At the first hearing, since I have experienced it in music, I felt a very great influx of light and energy, as I do every time I progress in the right direction. The more I managed to find the exact colors, both in the painting and in the play of lights, which took a long time, the greater the effect on the spectators. Of course, in this text there may be here and there a meaning other than a simple play of light, as with the four living ones. But we notice that many passages of this book are completely incomprehensible, unless if they were written in the perspective of bringing back to an imaginary more accessible for someone simple and down to earth, but pure light abstractions. There have been some experiments in the Extasium confirming this. Most of the time, people are unable to express what they have felt and perceived. Many prefer to remain in silence to bath longer in this extraordinary well-being. Some say there are no words, but some people were able to describe amazing scenes to me when you know that I only represented luminous geometrical constructions. One young woman, after the show, told me she had witnessed the attack of medieval castle with soldiers in battlements and knights rushing over the drawbridge into the square. As she relived the scene, her voice became more and more tenuous, her gaze vague. Then she went back into the light, this time more abstract. I never knew the end of the story. Another told me that she had seen revelations before the idea for the book had even entered my head. The funniest thing was one night when there were a lot of us in the room, 10 or 11 people. One of the boys said, "I saw a girl with a red panty." Two others, I think her too. That was it. Was it the woman who had dressed for the evening? April 4th, 1998. Very great visions. For the first time, and the only one, I saw the celestial Jerusalem as a whole. Everything is in place, very clear. Unfortunately, when you are in this plane of consciousness, it is very difficult to keep in mind all the details. This is one of the reasons why I do not attach too much importance to the immense amount of details that John gives of his visions. How could we have kept everything? I myself have been able to see how the imagination, mental projection, suppositions, a prioris throw themselves on the fundamental impulse of the visions as soon as we go back down to dress it up with more down-to-earth precisions, corresponding to the time in which we live, to our capacities, and to our preoccupation, and which distort the truth. Not to mention the addition and embellishment added by the various scribes who succeeded one another. That's why I focus on the essential, which I try, with the help of my intuition, to bring out. What I remember most was the arrangement of the last three figures that appeared to me. In the center of the square, even in Jerusalem, properly spoken, around on the outside overlapping each, first the figure called Neptune, which recalls a pleated skirt or rather vaporous petticoats. Then the bright figure with the small decorated lines making like an ornamentation of skirt. And finally, the large square in four colors appearing as a ribbon of aurora boreals bordering the skirt. This composition that I could never have imagined from the text corresponds to 21.12. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven. She made herself beautiful, like a bride adorned for her husband. I recall that the wall on which the composition rests is studded with frozen stars. The composition evoked a bridegroom's dress in John's time. Fabian, who sang with us, was Jewish. I shall heard the cover of a CD. It showed a Yemeni Jewish singer wearing a traditional dress close to this kind of ornamentation. She confirmed that it was a perfect match for an antique wedding dress. It will be noted that God, being everything, having all qualities, also have a lot of humor. This may shock the author's Puritans who are so supposedly serious about the message of love. We see under the skirt of the bride and the symbol of the woman, the mandala of light in the middle is a large red sex. And she doesn't wear panties.